Hi everyone. Today's video is all about commissions, how to enter them for the ICs, and then for the agency owners, how to mark them as paid and keep track of what is owed to each agent for each pay period. So we'll start with entering commissions. I'm just going to use this reservation here. You can see I've got everything entered except for the commission. Now, if you are importing from a supplier or you're using a supplier that works with the stripper, a lot of times it's going to automatically enter it when you import the details, but this is for the cases where you have to enter it yourself. And there are two different ways to do that. The easy way is to just put in the total here. So let's just say this is 425, and when I save this, you can see it calculates the agent's portion here. Now if you're an IC and you enter a commission and you save the reservation and it shows $0 here, you'll need to reach out to an admin for your account and ask them to enter your commission percentage so it'll calculate your percentage. That's done in your user settings. You don't have access unless you're an admin. It's under settings, manage users, and they just need to enter the percentage in there. If for some reason you were say 80%, but there are some situations where you might get 100%, you would need to check the override box and then put in, manually 425. But that's just for situations in which your commission is different than what your percentage is in your settings. Now the other way to enter commissions is, let's just delete this out here, is if you know a breakdown of what parts of the reservation give you what commission, rather than just entering the total up here, what you can do is you can go down into the components and you could say this is 25 and we will say this is 400, and then when I save, you're gonna have the same end result here, except you just entered it down below. Now what I get a lot of questions about from time to time is, let's say you try to delete commission out of here for whatever reason. If the trip is canceled, you zero it out, you click save, and then as soon as you look again, it's back in there. That's because if you don't have anything entered in these boxes here, it looks at the commission listed down in the components and then tallies those up, or puts the sum of those up above. So what you need to do, if you need to wipe out commission altogether, you have to make sure you're deleting it out of every single component below first. Then you can zero this out. Just delete these and click save, and it will remain at 0. So anyway, I'm just going to put this back at 425. Actually, before I do that, there's another feature too. Let's say you were splitting a commission with another agent. So you and one other agent worked on this booking together. What you can do is you can click this add additional commission, and now you've got two boxes. So let's say that you are going to keep 225 of this, and the other agent is going to keep 200. Now if you're doing this, you might put a note in here so your admin or whoever does your payroll can see. You could say split with Alicia, and then you need to change the agent here to Alicia. So now you're splitting up the commission for two users. And then for admins, if you have a situation in which a booking paid out commission on one date, and then say a few weeks later the supplier sends you an additional commission for that, you will need to, obviously you've already marked this one as paid, so it's not going to show up in any of the reports. So what you would need to do is go into that agent's booking and then just add an additional commission, keep the same agent here, and then add the secondary commission here. Put in the date you received the second commission, put in the date that it was paid, put in the amount you received, and it will calculate the agent's portion. So that's how you would add a secondary commission as the payroll person for an agency. So now that I've got these entered in here, let's shift over and talk about what whoever does payroll or agency owners will do to mark commissions as paid, to keep track of what you owe each agent during each pay period. Now you can go into each individual reservation and you can mark them as paid down here. Now this section, ICs can see this, but they cannot edit it. Everything is grayed out unless you are an admin user. So if you're an IC watching this, the reason for that is because this is what is used to actually keep track of how much you are owed. So obviously, every single agent shouldn't have access to, delete commissions and then claim they weren't paid. But you can also use this as a way to see if you are getting ready to be paid on your next pay period. If you go into a reservation that just recently traveled and you're expecting payment for that at some point in time in the near future, you can just go in here and look to see if there are any numbers or dates or anything entered in here to kind of see ahead of time. Alright, but let's say I'm the agency owner and I just got a pay statement from, say, GoGo with these 4 bookings here. These are 4 bookings that they paid me, and now I need to mark them as paid for the agency. So again, I could go into each individual reservation and mark them as paid, but there's an easier way to do that, especially if you have several to enter. Under utilities, there is an agent commission utility. So I'm going to go in here, and basically what this is it's almost like a report that you're running for any bookings that have not been paid out. So what you're going to do is you're going to change the parameters here just to narrow it down to only bookings that fit that criteria. So I like to do by trip date or travel date, because that's typically, in most cases, when they pay out is when the client travels. And then for the date range, if you're keeping up with this, it wouldn't hurt to leave this as is, January 1 of this year, because really there shouldn't be a whole lot of commission that hasn't been paid out that traveled months ago or earlier this year. It doesn't hurt to leave it like this just to make sure that you don't have any situations like that, but in this case, just to narrow it down a little bit, since this is a demo account with lots of stuff that isn't marked as paid, I'm just going to say let's do we'll do October 20th through, and I want to put a little buffer in here, so I want to do maybe a couple weeks after today, so let's just do the 30th of this month. And then for suppliers, since I received the statement from GoGo and I know there are no commissions that are not GoGo bookings in here, I'm going to select GoGo. And then for the status, by default, it's going to only include statuses that would typically receive a commission. So canceled with protected commission, deposited, paid in full, or traveled. If you want to, you can add additional statuses to this, but in most cases you won't need to. Or if you want to remove a status, you can just click the little X next to it to remove it, so it'll only search the others. But anyway, you put all this information in and then click submit, and now it's going to pull up a list of any bookings that have not been marked as paid yet that fit that criteria. Now you can see I've got several in here, so rather than have to search, especially if you have a larger agency with, you might have 100 bookings on this list, what I like to do is use Control F as in find, or Command F if you're on a Mac, and you can search by booking numbers. So this one I'm going to search, that is the first booking listed here in my statement, and it's going to take you to that part of the screen where this is. So anyway, this one we can look and see 350. Let's pretend that's what we did receive from GoGo, so I can copy from expected. It's going to pull it down here. The agency paid date is going to be today's date, because that's when we received it as an agency. And for the paid date for this, it's up to you as an owner, but what I recommend is you put the date in which you will pay that agent. So if you pay once a month on the 15th, it's already past the 15th, so you're going to put December 15th in here. In this example, we will say that the agency pays out every other Friday, and this Friday is in fact a payday. So I'm going to enter November 20th here. And if you want to, you can put notes in here, so you could say something like, that would typically only be if it's different than what is the normal split, or if you need to put we only received partial payment or something like that, because the agent will see that later, so they don't have to ask you why it is the way it is. So now I'm going to move on to the next one. So in this case, this is the agent that is splitting the commission with Alicia. So Steven's splitting it with Alicia, so he's saying 225 should go to him, or I guess 180 should go to him, and 160 should go to her. So in this case, we can just say let's copy from expected. Let's just assume all of these are accurate. And then again, I'm going to put in the paid date, so we'll say the agency received it today. We'll pay out on the 20th. Same here. And then I'm going to go to the next one. And then we have one more. And then once you get all those entered, the nice thing about this is I just entered 4 right there on one screen, and I click save one time. Whereas if you did it the other way, you'd have to search for each booking number, go into that reservation, enter the details, click save, then search for the next booking number, and so on. So it would take you a long time to do 20 or 30 commissions, whereas this way it's all on one screen. You click save once and you're done. Now that's what you're going to be doing as you receive commission as it comes in. Now once you hit the cutoff in which you need to submit everything to whatever pay system you use to actually pay the agents, let's say it's the Wednesday before payday if you're paying out on Fridays. Wednesday's when you need to submit everything in order for them to get paid by Friday. So on Wednesday, after you've got everything that you've received so far entered in, you're going to go into the reports and the system reports, and you're going to run the paid agent commission report. So we're going to click this here. Now the reason why I said a little bit ago when you put the paid date just to put the date which the agent will receive that commission is because that makes this step very easy, because right now all I need to do is put in that one date, so the 20th through the 20th. If you do it by the date you receive it, it gets kind of messy because there's sometimes maybe an overlap, like if you received a commission on one day in the morning and you marked it as paid for the next pay period, but then after you submit everything to your final payroll, then later you get another commission statement late in the day from another supplier. Now you've got a mess because you don't know which one was paid out on what day. So that's why I just say, put it in there. If it's past the cutoff, like if Thursday I received something, I would put the next pay period in there. And again, same thing with the statuses. Make sure you are keeping track of this, because if there is a booking that somehow got marked as expired, even though it wasn't, and you mark it as paid, it's not going to show up in this report unless you include expired status in here, or if you go into that trip and fix the status to traveled or whatever it may be. So anyway, I'm just going to use this one date, and I'm going to show on screen. You can also export to Excel if you want to save a copy to your computer for your own records, but in this case we're just going to say show on screen. And so you can see here we had 4 bookings, but one of them was a split. So you can see that's why we have the 180 and the 160 here, because I split that with Alicia. Now this is pretty straightforward because there's only 2 agents that actually receive commission, so it's pretty easy to figure out who is owed what. But in a lot of cases it's going to be a lot more complicated than this. You're going to have maybe 100 of these bookings that have been paid out. So it makes it very easy to send out a statement to your agents and to yourself to figure out how much is owed to each agent with these totaled up per agent. All you have to do is just click send commission statement, and it's going to pop up with this box here. So when it says all agents here, this is who do you want to send it to. All agents actually means all agents that actually received a commission. I've got 5 or 6 agents on this account, but you can see if I look at this drop down, there's only 2 listed here because we are the only 2 that are receiving commission. And then who do you want to send the statement to? Current user is the person that's doing the payroll, so in that case that is me. It's going to send me a summary of what is owed to each agent along with the totals at the very bottom. And then selected agents, those are the agents that are actually receiving commission. So in my case, in this example, I'm going to receive 2 emails. I'm going to get one that is a summary of everything that is owed to each agent, but I'm also going to get one for me as an agent that shows my breakdown by itself. So we've got that. Only current user would only send you that final statement with a listing of everyone. selected agents would not send it to you with the grand totals of everyone broken down. It would only send it out to the agent. So if you want to see how much you owe to each agent, this is not going to be an option that you would select, because it's just going to send a breakdown to each individual agent. So I'm going to leave this as is, and I'm just going to say I want to send commission statement, and it's going to compile everything together and send it out to the agents. Now I'm going to pause this and actually pull up my email so you can see this. 1 second here. Okay, so this is the agent version of the statement that I just received. So you can see it's just simply for the agent to see which bookings they received commission on, how much they received. This is the total. So I know on payday on Friday, this is what I'm going to receive in commission. The version that I got as the owner, or as the person doing the payroll, looks like this. So it's an actual breakdown per agent. So I know I owe Alicia $495, I owe Steven $800 for a total of $1295.20, and of course this is the total that came in to the agency. And if you're using the commission utilities and reports and keeping track of everything that way, what that also allows you to do is run the pending agent commission report. And typically what this is really good for is running it by, say, travel date and looking for past dates. So let's just do the beginning of this year through, let's say, a couple weeks prior to today's date. So let's do the 1st of November. So what you're saying is I'm looking for stuff that is still pending or not marked as paid that already traveled. There really shouldn't be anything in this list. But there are always going to be times where you don't get paid on something for whatever reason. So it's good to be able to track this. And you can see in this case I've got $58,000 that hasn't come into the agency. Of that, I need to pay out $46,000 to the agents. So there's really only a handful of reasons why something would be on this list if you were running prior travel dates. Typically it's going to be because either A, the supplier didn't pay the agency, or B, the agency received it but missed it and didn't pay out the agent. Or the other reason, the final reason typically, is that the trip was canceled and the agent never went in and marked it as canceled, because again, by default this is only running for statuses that would actually receive a commission. So the first step when you see something like this would be to check, one, were these valid trips that traveled, and then two, did I receive it and miss it from the supplier and forget to pay it out? Check that. If you verify that yes, the client traveled, no, I have no record of ever receiving payment for that, you've got a list of supplier and booking number and commission amounts, so you can reach out to them and request those commissions. So if once you get the hang of this, if you start using it like this, it helps keep you very organized. It's very easy to manage how much you owe each agent. It's easy to send them statements so they can keep track of that stuff. And then also at the end of the year you could run the paid agent commission report per agent or all together, and just send a statement for the entire year to show what the agent received for that entire year. So if you have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out. You can email us at help@vacationcrm.com. Thank you.